Hi everyone, it's Rebecca Underwood here, and today I'm going to share my experiences of teaching a mixed age class, reception and so I think that teaching a mixed reception and year one class offers a multitude of benefits, and I'll share those with you later, and also potentially the barriers that come with that too. There's time constraints, there's curriculum coverage of course, but at the heart of everything, you are the professional. You know that in September you establish those routines and make sure that the children feel stable and supported at every step of the way. But the added bonus for a mixed reception in year one class is you've got your year ones to support you, your mini LSAs, and goodness me, they really do rise to the occasion of being grown up, role models to the other, and absolutely they influence each day for those younger children. So I think the mix is wonderful, and I'll share some of my experiences now. Hopefully by the end of this session I'll share ideas, I'll share timetables, like I said, the benefits and the barriers, potentially some teaching strategies that might work for you in your cohort. I'll share some useful links, and we'll talk as well about transition along the way. So the framework says every child deserves the best possible start in life and the support that enables them to fulfil their potential. And that's true of every year group there is, no matter if you teach reception, year 4, year 6, key stage 4. You want every child in your care and your educational care to reach their full potential and do well. And for me, it's all about that attitude towards learning and never stop learning, reach for the stars, and all my classes have known that S Club 7 Reach for the Stars song, because learning doesn't stop here, and it's about me as well demonstrating that and modelling that I'm learning alongside them, and we were very much, it was a team approach to learning as well along the way. So as this might be familiar to you, this is the new early years framework. It's not so new now, it's a couple of years old. And it's all of the wonderful ingredients that make up those early years, including communication and language, personal and social development, and the specific areas as well. And nothing changes, I don't think, going into year 1. Some of those children are still 5 and they're going into a new year group, and they want those positive relationships. And I think for a reception year 1 teacher, understanding where those children are from is really essential. And if it is you that has those children for 2 years, then the year 1s can really hit the ground running in September, and that's wonderful to see as well. I'm looking at this here, I've just put some different words here. They have practice, opportunities to practice and consolidate their learning in year 1. So all of this here is relevant for them as well. They have that chance to commit things to long-term memory because they're revisiting, they're retrieving that information because they've done it before, and they're becoming masters at it as well. They've got opportunities to develop their fine motor skills as well within year 1. Again, it depends on where that children is coming into, and ensuring that they belong in that community and that you challenge and support when they are ready as well. So the children also feel safe and happy, and they self-regulate, and that's really important, and it comes back to those routines that you establish in September too. So we used to call ourselves the dream team. Like I said, it was our classroom, so we all looked after it. We all looked out for each other, and like I said, the year 1s at the beginning of the year were influential in establishing those routines and really being really good role models for younger children. So robust systems and routines in September is vital. And September, as you can imagine, each September is when you're a teacher, it is hard. Okay, I'm not going to embellish the truth and tell you that it's a piece of cake in September teaching a mixed age group class, especially reception and year 1. It isn't. Those children, the youngest ones, are settling, they're finding their feet, they're working with the other children to create the dynamics of the class, and sometimes, you know, there can be a fight for your attention as well. The year 1 children, like I've said, they hit the ground running. They know you, they know the routines, even if it isn't you again. They know that familiar place, they know what is expected of them, and that you know as well where they are and need to go next. and that's really important. The younger ones learn from their older counterparts at every opportunity. It's that communication's there, the behaviour's there, and the academic skills are also there as well. And it's that whole sense of community and belonging that's so precious in any class, but particularly in a mixed reception and Year 1 class. So some of the benefits then, individualised learning, and that goes for any class, but more particularly here in the mixed age class. In September you do your baseline with your reception, of course you do, and you might do your own baseline apart from the RBA, and that's fine too, because you want to know particular child's needs and aspirations and passions and interests. But I too would do some sort of baseline for the Year 1s. 6 weeks is a long time for a child of that age, isn't it? Proportionate to their age. So make sure that you know exactly where they are. They might have done a lot of reading over the summer, they might have done none. So finding out the baseline for those Year 1 children as well, you can really sort of benchmark where those children are and where you need to take them with your wonderful broad and balanced curriculum. So make sure at the relevant times that those children in your care, and I know you will, that they feel challenged and supported appropriately, and that's all about wonderful interventions that you create, but also intervening in their play at those pivotal times. So if you know me and follow me before, you've seen this progression model, and this comes from the Ofsted team as well, that analogy of bikes and having a go. And the vast majority of children will access one of these bikes and really have a go. Some will go and be quite aspirational and go high. Some will want to feel safe and will start at the left-hand side of the page. However, watching them and standing back and giving them time to develop in a, this is a bike riding scenario, but be that in a writing session or in a maths practical activity, watching them have a go at establishing their own understanding and being confident and letting them master the task is really important. Then you go in and you say, right, what do they need in order to succeed for the next step? And you offer that guidance physically. If it was a bike, you put the stabilizers on, you tighten up the chain to make sure that all of those resources that will help them progress are in place at the right time, and they feel supported and they feel safe to really have a go and take risks in their environment. Another benefit, the continuity. So if that is you that is teaching them, and for those few years that I taught the mixed reception in Year 1 class, it was me. So every September those Year 1 teachers will come, Year 1 children would come in and they would hit the ground running. They knew my high expectations and my routines. They were already established, and they were absolutely the drivers and the instigators behind supporting those reception children when they came in and settled full time. I also made sure that the reception children didn't have too long. So we had 3 days till 12, 2 days till 1, and then straight in full time. And I think that's really important if you have a mixed class, is to keep that settling in period quite short and robust, and also make sure that you do a home visit. I really I'm a strong believer in understanding where those children come from, and again tapping into their passions and interests that you can follow up later in the year. Another one is the social skills. So that mixed age group class provides the children with the opportunity to interact with peers of different ages, and that really does promote their communication skills, increases the older ones' empathy and understanding of the little one's problem. I remember when I was that age, I used to fall over as well, and just like really supporting them around the environment, telling them where things go, telling them how to put their coat on. And again, like when the Year 1 children are talking to the receptions, they are modelling that good behaviour. They are revisiting different aspects of the daily routine, and they're teaching them and learning themselves, becoming excellent and masters at their own communication and question asking. So it's really a wonderful thing to stand back and watch those Year 1s thrive and take lead and look after and support the younger children. Building on for that social skills, Year 1s also love role play. It doesn't stop when they hit the end of reception year, does it? And I always love there to be bridge between reception and year one and going into that autumn term. And there's a place for learning in every opportunity, I think, and it's about, again, having that wonderful attitude towards a no ceiling limit, that we can reach the stars and go through any boundary because we love learning and we never want to stop. But also children that age need support and guidance and interaction in their play, and to do that at the right time really does drive their understanding forward. And as you as a practitioner, making sure that those opportunities for challenge are there around the environment at the appropriate times to really pick into and tap into their interests and where they need to go next as learners, no matter what their age. Collaboration, so the older children in a mixed age class can serve as a mentor, as a leader, helping them develop and understand the world around them, and that sense of community, like I said, the dream team and the collaboration within the classroom is absolutely there at all times. And they loved wearing lanyards, they were the teachers. I'll help them do that, I'll read them a story, and by the end of the year you can start to step back and those lines are blurred as the older ones support the younger ones, and you can see that confidence in the younger ones really escalating, and they flourish and they too become wonderful independent learners who want to be like their older counterparts as well, and it's wonderful to see. So this was my outdoor area, and it really was my world for all of those times, and it was an opportunity to talk and celebrate communication, and the sand pit, the setting up of the tough trays each day, and with the reception and year ones, we did have an Ofsted that year, and everything was celebrated, and it was about understanding where each child was and where to take them. And as you know, we don't do it all for Ofsted, but it was lovely to have that stamped on paper that we were doing the right thing for both year groups, but this piece here predominantly for the early years. And here's my classroom setup, which you might have seen before. So let me just talk you through this. So the two tables, as you can see, these were the year one, the majority of the time, these were their tables. They had their home seats, but they also had their opportunity in some subjects to move around, so that fluidity was there. And then at certain times of the day, it was a free flow for everyone. Home seats would be the year one's seats, and then they all also had a carpet spot that you can see there as well. It was about, for me, it was ensuring that there was never that stigma attached to a reception child having a go at a year one task, but also vice versa, that was okay, because year ones could consolidate and get better at something and be experts at it. And that analogy of baking a cake and always getting better at it because you keep practicing, but also that the reception children really did look up to the older ones and have that opportunity to have a go, even if it was hard. And that support there from the reception year one children and myself in my LSA really meant that they had that success and that celebration of their learning as well, and they felt proud of themselves. So lots of certificates and stickers given out throughout the day, and for various reasons, including communication as well. So year ones at desks majority of the time, and then reception and year ones on carpet spots in those pivotal moments of the day when you are the teacher at the front of the room. Again, two examples of the children using the room. So reception children alongside year ones pointing out places on a map for the younger ones, and them understanding and coming back to that another day and remembering what they've taught each other. So that's wonderful to see. And then a working wall, and children would potentially take over and have ownership of that for the year ones. This was for both of them, but the year ones used to like sticking things on and reaching up high for the children that couldn't quite reach. But that celebration of this is where we're going and this is what we can do, and I think we can do even more because we love to learn. Those light bulb moments would also go on those wire walls. So not just for completed physical pieces of work or art, but also for things that they said as well. Like, you really explained that well. You ran an errand to me, to the head teacher. Thank you so much. You were so articulate there. And also children leading parts of the lesson. Can you come and explain what we did yesterday to the rest of the children in a really clear way? And can you use these 3 words, please? Yes, in September that is the year 1s, because they've got that ability and that confidence, but later on in the year it starts to be the reception children, and you can sit back with glee because that communication is there, and that ability to really support each other and just watch and mimic the other children, and it's quite a wonderful thing to witness. So here is my timetable. This was after a lot of tweaking over the previous 3 years to get something right, and each cohort is very different, and that might be very this might work for you and your cohort. However, it doesn't work for everyone. My initial barrier over the previous 2 years was fitting everything in and not doing anything with the right degree of focus, or doing it haphazardly and then not really producing anything and being proud of the final result. So I trialled this, and this really worked for me for the remainder of my reception and year 1 time. And that was for me to have an English focus for 3 days and then a maths focus for 2 days. And now that's not to say that we didn't do maths in the first 3 days. We filled our, the morning work, you can see that was maths focus on those 3 days, and then that switched over to handwriting or a literacy focus on the Thursday, Friday. But that, in those snippet and those moments of the day, we would count in 5s. We would count in 2s when we were lined up. We would point out shapes and things like that on an English day, and vice versa. And we'd practice our handwriting and everything like that on a maths day as well. So it's about making sure that we had a length of time that really lent itself to producing work that we were proud of. Originally, again, linked to my previous couple of years, I taught phonics first thing, because that is when, if you have one class, one cohort of children, that's the easiest time, because they're focused, especially the reception children, they're ready. But having a mixed year class, it meant that we were doing phonics and then going off to provision, and me not knowing where to take the year 1s. So I changed it so that introduction for the day, for the whole day, whole morning, was on a Monday. It was writing focus, so linked to a text. And this is what we're learning in our literacy and our English today. And this is where you are going to go year 1. So year 1, as you can see, would stay with me on the tables, and we would complete a writing task, and we would love it. Reception also had a mark making or writing task as well, linked to the text, so we all had that similar theme, similar focus. And again, that would swap later in the week as I taught maths first thing. And then, as you can see, phonics was there after a break, after a snack. They'd ran around, they were ready, and then moving into the rest of the time, there being a good amount of time for discovery and continuous provision. And also that the children were challenged within that continuous provision as well, and the year 1 children included in that as well. And that's when we did lots of our talking and lots of the celebration of language and vocabulary. And then moving on into the afternoon, it would be understanding the world, or art or PE, again with that initial introduction. And then children accessing the provision, be that practically, be that paper task or something else. Again, on a Wednesday, as you can see, there was a reading focus, not just that whole prescriptive element to teaching reading, but that absolute celebration to reading as well. And as you can see, at 1 o'clock, we'd read and celebrate reading every single day, and that was really important part of our week. I think the reading element, story time as well at the end of the day. And there's nothing better, is there, than reading a book and then shutting a chapter and children pleading with you to carry on reading. I think that's one of my favourite moments in teaching, is that them pleading for, please don't stop the book, please carry on. And so reading was really important for us, and linked and improved our writing over time as well. Okay, some barriers now. behaviour management, then absolutely wanting your attention and support at different times, and you think, oh, I need to clone myself because they all need me, and it's that guilt of thinking, oh, I haven't spent enough time with them, I need to go and spend time with them, and that's okay. And it's just about you being human and stepping back, going, right, okay, I can't do everything at once, so therefore you working with hopefully your full-time consistent LSA who really gets to know you. And if I was going to say anything to an SLT, let a reception and year one teacher please have as much TA time as possible out. And if that can be the same TA, then that's absolutely brilliant. Again, it comes back to those routines in September, making sure those expectations are high. This is how we behave, and you've got your year ones to role model that, and that's really important. And giving out, like I said, rewards and incentives for those children that really do act in the correct way each and every day, and that's important. Differentiation. Now for one class on its own, that's a huge mammoth task sometimes, so understanding where a set of 2 different cohorts coming together and their needs need to go requires a deep understanding of each child's strengths and areas to develop, and that will come in time. And I think your understanding of where they come in, be that with the home visit, your talks to parents, their talks to preschools, all of that wonderful communication and understanding that you have beforehand will really drive your ability to meet their individual needs when they come to you in September. Assessment, another pinch point throughout the year. Reception, obviously you predominantly give them your time in the beginning of the years in September, and then throughout the year you've got your different data drops and things like that. Again, assessment for teachers should be ongoing, and I think that's the beauty of being a professional. You know exactly where they are and where they need to go, and the beauty that lots of Ofsted leaders now, if they come in and they don't ask for paperwork, they believe in you as a professional, and I think that's really important. So understanding the different stages and understanding when they are ready for different types of support and challenge is really essential along that year group. Coverage, and I get asked about this all the time, and a couple of questions came up in the last couple of days. I teach reception year 1 and 2. How do I make sure I cover everything? That's a big ask. Teaching one year group and making sure you've given them the entitlement that they deserve is a task. So teaching 1 to 2 or 3 is a task indeed, a huge task indeed. So you need to plan carefully, and what I've always done is really front-loaded my planning to be understanding where I need to take them, not seeing the early learning goals as a tick box along the way. That's our end point. However, how are we going to get there? Where do we start from? Where are those stepping stones to small steps of progress that those children need to take? Be that working in groups in September, working on their collaboration skills, teaching them and modelling how to communicate along the way. And that's really important to ensure that you understand that every child needs that support and guidance at different times of the day and different areas of the curriculum as well. And time constraints. Who wouldn't like to wave a magic wand and have a few more hours in the day, if not just to sleep in a cupboard, but to plan and prepare for our multiple age groups, if that's the case for you this year. So yeah, it can, especially if you're on your own, and because you're teaching reception year 1, you probably are maybe in a smaller school, or there's another year 1 teacher next door, so make sure you can share and support each other when you can, because teaching that mixed age class, it can be time consuming, and you don't want to be planning for planning's sake, because being an early years teacher in general is a lot about the setup of the environment, and that takes time and it takes effort and dedication. And so I'd rather early years teachers are doing that and providing a wonderful enhanced provision that the children were proud of, than doing reams and reams of planning for who's that for, really. So just understanding and starting in September with that long-term, medium-term plans, and just seeing where you go and tangents that you go down as well. And that's important because that addresses their aspirations and their passions and interests along the way. And it comes back to that whole thing of Ofsted's definition of curriculum, so that for setting out the aims of a programme of education, including the knowledge and skills to be gained at each stage. And it's all about being ambitious and broad, and not honing in to a specific objective or the early year learning goals. Open it out. The world's literally your oyster, and it's about, again, not ring fencing their learning and going as far as you can down different wonderful avenues wherever they take you, and they take you to the most imaginative of places, don't they? And again, coming back to the new Ofsted framework, the intent, the implementation, how is your curriculum being delivered? Why are you teaching this now? And as long as you've got that justification for that, and that you know where your year ones are coming to meet them next year in their learning journey, then that's absolutely fine. Be that in history and the past and present element of the early years curriculum, asking questions, thinking about their own history as well. It's all about, we're doing this now, so next year you can do this, and this is what we are looking for as visitors to your classroom, but also this is what Ofsted and other people are looking for too, and the teaching methods that you use to get there too. And the power of play, and if you know me well, you will know that I believe that play is essential for children's development, and I'm an advocate for taking it into that transition over to year one. And if you are a mixed class, then that has absolutely sort of done it for you, done that heavy lifting for you, because they know your expectations, they know that they know the layout of the room, and that really does build their confidence. And play, you know, it absolutely leads to learning, no matter where the different avenues, like we said, where they go and their learning takes them. They are part and ownerships of that. They own that learning for themselves. So we can steer their play down potential avenues, but for it to come from the heart is powerful indeed. And so let them play and let them discover and learn, especially in those foundational subjects, science and art and PE and everything in the afternoons. Like, let them discover, and maths also lends itself to that too. So this is all linked to research as well. So the EEF research highlights the importance of language development, using things such as shared book reading, shared thinking, modelling and thinking out loud, and ensuring that children have those opportunities to converse with each other, and all of that wonderful vocabulary and language acquisition. And it's all evidence-based and based on research, that if you get that right in those early years, then their communication skills will flourish later on in their primary education. Again, back to Ofsted, and it's that whole opportunity that they understand that the mixed age classes again can provide such an abundance of learning opportunities that a reception class wouldn't necessarily have on their own within one cohort. So again, it's like the sky's the limit, and that's really exciting for children. So now just a few tips and advice for you, and to summarise really. Organise your planning, both long term and medium term, and have that ready as a sort of indication of where the year may take you, and that might change, like I said, as you find out their different passions and things. Be prepared for the biggest difference in September, when you do potentially want to pull your hair out and work in Tesco's. But later on, I promise, I do promise, I hope I promise, that in May, June, July, you step back and you think, they don't even need me anymore. The year ones have got them. They are role models for the others. But look at the receptions. They are flourishing because of the year they've had with me and with the older peers as well. So it's wonderful to see. Extension activities around the room, and I'll come on to this in a minute as I talk about teaching strategies. Keep the classroom flexible, so flexible seating, keeping it fluid. So let's not sit at tables today, or why don't you go and try that one? Or reception, does anybody want to try this year one task? And vice versa as well. That's okay. That's brilliant to see that you are choosing each other's tasks. Year one to get better and to master things, and reception to really have that challenge and drive their learning forward. So colour coding around the classroom. So as you can see here, I would have reception ideas in red on the board and year ones in blue. And that was true too of the different drawers I had, the different lanyards I had them wear. Again, that all coming back to like dual coding or colour coding around the classroom, making those routines well established and providing them with opportunities to become independent learners that didn't need me towards the end of the year. And an example of planning there, so the reception ideas are in red, Year 1 in blue, and the yellow is everyone, and when those expectations that we all do something together as well, because we are one class and one team. Again, coming back to the red and blue here. And I used to use chilies. I don't know if they're a bit old-fashioned now, a couple of years later. So morning work idea there. So lots of different things. These opportunities of snippets in the day. Tell me how you know. I don't believe you. Prove it. So in the yellow box each day would be something, I don't know, and it didn't have to be maths. It could be a statement. Well, how do you know that's true? The Eiffel Tower is in France. Prove it. I don't think it is. I think it's moved. And so all of that, you don't be silly. I'll show you. Let me research it. Put it up on your phone. Put it on the board. So something in the box, and they had to prove it to me and explain. And all of that communication was there. And reception children learnt from the year ones, and then later in the year they'd have a go themselves, and it was wonderful to see. Are you up for a challenge today? So like I said, all of that wonderful language and that attitude towards learning was really important, and September was the time to do that and model it, and model myself doing it as well. Me never stop learning, other teachers never stopping learning, and that sort of approach. And then how we talked to each other. So I would model this or this sort of idea of we can't do it yet. And instead of I give up, well, don't use that. I'm going to use a different way. I'm going to use plan B. I'm going to learn how to do this. And that pride and celebration when they did do well was absolutely wonderful to see. So all of this wonderful growth mindset, which isn't new, but is that whole shared understanding and shared language of how we can move forward, and that sometimes meant that we worked collaboratively as well. Open-ended ideas, so photos are a super idea. So this would be on the board in the morning. By the end of the year, children would know that if there was a photo on the board, they had to either write a story or a poem or a sentence or a caption or write words around the edge. They had to do something with words and make me go wow. And again, some open-ended ideas in maths. What number can you see here? And reception children would potentially say 7 or 12, and the year 1 children would be a bit more ambitious and say 670. And towards the end of the year, when they really wanted to test me, they'd say 92,090 and try and make me find it and everything like that. So open-ended ideas that children can really have a go at and tackle at their own pace and level are really interesting and exciting. And I've got some more maths ones that I'll share with you at another time if you drop me an email, and I'll send you that PowerPoint. Forest school, outdoor areas, we did this each week, and there's no differential needed in things like this, is there, in activities like this. You do all of these, you need to talk, you need to delegate, you need to communicate with each other, but there's no degree of being better than someone else. And not, you know, sometimes the younger ones, because they were outdoorsy, were absolutely, you know, slightly on a par, if not ahead of some of the more timid year ones. So doing lots of outdoor learning is a must and a wonderful thing to do if you've got the resources for that. Coming back to that, practical ideas and keeping it practical, especially in maths, and keeping it open-ended and giving it time and context as well, and making it hands-on as much as you can for both year groups. And again, open-ended, rolling dice, looking at phones, lottery tickets, handouts from supermarkets. I've got £2, what can I spend? That sort of thing. So making it real and linked to real life contexts. Again, coming back to red and blue. Mark making, so not being afraid that if activities like this are out that the year ones can't access as well, that's fine. No one likes something more, like me myself, than a blank pad and a set of pens or just a biro and doodling, and that's brilliant for children's fine motor control. So let them have a go, no matter what their age or stage. Writing everywhere in abundance, and them showing you and having that pride of sharing their written word and you reading it and conveying that message. Even in September, if that is pretend and mark making, it's still wonderful to see. Keywords, tricky words. The top pictures are September and the bottom pictures are November. So again, year one's coming, this is year one. So year one's coming in September with an understanding of how to write and letter formation and everything, but then quickly picking up, remembering what the year ones did. And I think I didn't press reception to write reams in reams at the end of their reception year. They predominantly did their writing in their provision. And because they wanted to convey a message, like I said. So them sitting down and being ready to write and be authors was really brilliant to see in September. And then, like I said, this is November. And September, Charlie came in, so he is here and he has some wonderful writing on the right. And then in January as well, so he was joining by that stage. And this is Molly, September to December. And they started writing in cursive so early in year one because of their older siblings were doing it. So they wanted to do it and they set themselves that goal. So we all did it together. And I'm going to come back to this boy here. This little boy here did not receive his GLD in writing or physical the year before. And this was by January. Totally independent, and just them being so proud of themselves as well. It's wonderful to see. A handwriting board there displaying good examples, and we use letter join. And another piece here. It's just lovely to read. So some teaching techniques: multisensory, pictures, pass something around, sounds, different images, you using different voices, them sharing and talking to each other, turn to talk, my go, your go, retrieval, reception children and year one children talking as learning partners, small group work, visual aids around the room, colour codes and dual coding, so images on different guided reading, for example, a crystal ball for predicting what might happen next, and hands-on activities, like I said, and real life contexts. Cold calling, who am I going to call today? It might be you. Hello, I'm George, can you answer this question please? And that whole them being ready and engaged, and they need to learn, otherwise they might not get it right. If they do learn, brilliant, well done, sticker, excellent, thank you George, you're a historian today, you remembered all of those facts from yesterday. It's all about that praise, isn't it? Retrieval practice, like quizzes, like Monday magic, like, oh, I've forgotten everything about last week, let's bring it together, what magic can we remember? And quiz time Fridays, that sort of approach to really retrieving and like from that long-term memory where we're going, and the use of story across the curriculum, and the person to Google for that is the wonderful Mary Maya. So enjoy it. I'll show some pictures in a minute, but enjoy it and foster that inclusive environment. Tailor lessons to accommodate the diverse needs. Consider cultural capital in what each child can bring and what each child's family can bring as well, and give them those opportunities in school and potentially outside of school as well, as much as you can that year. Different teaching strategies work for different children, of course. Collaboration at every opportunity, and hands-on experiential learning where possible. Rotate those learning stations so they're not always in the same place and they're using them in different contexts. Play-based learning for most things, in my opinion. Technology and iPads to video each other. A couple of iPads around to capture those learning, and that communication is brilliant. Celebrate those achievements and those small steps of progress that all children make, and celebrate too their confidence in speaking and communicating with others. And communicate regularly with parents to keep them informed about their child's progress. Lots of welcome mornings, reading with me, share our learning mornings, just to see this is what we do and this is what your children are amazing at. And it's a pleasure to be a part of such a wonderful cohort of children, and that mix is wonderful. And I am an advocate, as you can hear. Lots of these aspirational quotes of the day shared with the children to again foster that love of learning. I may not be there yet, but I'm closer than I was yesterday, and you can hear them saying it in the provision. Success is no accident, you got to try hard. A wonderful display of their faces interspersed with a few more famous faces that we might know, but be whoever you want to be. You've got every right to enjoy a beautiful life. Reach the stars, celebrate our differences. We only get stronger when it's difficult. The ultimate game when you never run out of levels. And I used to always think, oh, I don't even know that, I've learned something new today. And we learned something new most days, be that a word, a fact about an animal, a dinosaur, bit of information, or just what they had for tea last night and where it came from. They were always the wonderful conversations that we had each day. It's a lifelong journey, isn't it? And children can achieve and set their heart's desire on whatever they want to, and that's predominantly done in the early years in year one. So to get it right then and lay those foundations is pretty special, and it makes other teachers' lives slightly easier, I think. But you need to look after yourselves as well. Okay, so when things feel overwhelming, please do remember one thought at a time, one task at a time, and one day at a time. And that pull on reception sometimes is, oh, I need to look after my year ones or my year twos as well. But you are human, there's only one of you, and you are special, and you need to look after yourself as well and recharge those batteries, because a reception and year one teacher's job is never done. So you need the holidays, you need that downtime, and you need to look after you. That's it from me. Here's some wonderful different videos, either on my website or other people's that I've shared and they have inspired me along the way. But please do keep in touch. I'd love to know your journeys about teaching a mixed reception in year one class. And it's that phrase, isn't it, that filling of a pail. Education is not about filling a bucket, but lighting a fire within. And let us nurture as practitioners the spark of curiosity, independence and lifelong learning in every child that comes through our classrooms. Take care, and I will see you soon. And it's nearly the summer holidays. So yeah, have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye-bye.